Hi friends, welcome back to Moody Blooms. Today we're going to tour the Newtown nursery and we're going to learn about some succulent care tips and different varieties. So the first one we're going to cover is the Crassula Ovata Variegata, and this is commonly called the variegated jade or the tricolor jade. And this is one of my favorites, and it displays shades of pale green, creamy white, and when grown in the sun, the edges are lined with pretty pink margins. Like most variegated plants, they tend to grow slower than the solid green version. This is because solid green jade has so much more chlorophyll. I absolutely love the creamy albino leaves on the variegated jade. It is such a stunning contrast against the green. The solid cream contains no chlorophyll at all, so it does not produce its own food via photosynthesis. Instead, it infiltrates its greener neighbor's tissues and extracts water and nutrients. When the variegated jade produces an all-green stem on occasion, keep in mind that it will not revert back to the variegated version. A quick trim to cut them back easily will fix it if you want to keep them all variegated. This next Crassula originates from Cape Province, South Africa. They thrive in bright locations with indirect light and can easily be transitioned into full sun gradually. This succulent has long green leaves with beautiful red margins that intensify during the cold or from the sun. They prefer regular waterings during the summer, but are also fairly drought tolerant. In spring and summer, various flower stalks emerge with little yellow flowers. Typically, they will need full sun part of the day in order for them to bloom. So this next one is beautiful. It's called a painted Echeveria, and this unique succulent is native to the limestone hills of central Mexico. They have green leaves and a reddish-purple color lining the margins and in the center of the leaves. In spring and summer, they produce coral pink and yellow star-shaped flowers on tall stalks. In its natural habitat, it is accustomed to direct sun, but it does well in partial sun to light shade. This frost-tender succulent is a low-growing spreader and thrives in dry, sandy soil. Here are the silver teaspoons, and these are native to Madagascar and are fast-growing succulents. The luminescent silvery white leaves have a fuzzy-like texture. These plants are perfect to add height and color contrast to any succulent arrangement. They thrive in full sun to bright shade and love morning sun. Protect these beauties from frost around 28 degrees Fahrenheit and be sure to bring them indoors if kept outside in colder temperatures. Next we have the copper spoons, and this is a two-toned stemmed variety, and it has these velvety copper oval-shaped leaves on top of silver underneath. As the leaves age, they turn completely silver. This succulent is from a native rocky habitat in Madagascar. Copper spoons produce clusters of pretty yellow blossoms in late winter to spring. Aeoniums. These are beautiful, and there's over 35 different species of Aeoniums, which are native to the Canary Islands, Morocco, and Africa. These beautiful gray sticks or white sprite have silvery white leaves, which are coated in a chalky, powdery layer of natural wax called farina that protects the plant in full sun. The finger-looking leaves have tips that turn pink and bluish-gray, and they turn to deep purple with increased sun. This low-maintenance succulent does well in the ground or in containers, and they add a wonderful texture to arrangements. They produce beautiful pale orange, bell-shaped flowers on tall bloom stalks in spring. Hummingbirds love their flowers. They are drought-tolerant and deer-resistant. Cotyledons do well in full sun to light shade with well-draining soil. Rock purslane or shining pink is native to Chile and features 1 to 2 foot stems with poppy-shaped blooms that are bright magenta to hot pink in color. This sturdy succulent features blue-gray toned rosettes that would complement rock gardens, flower beds, containers, or as a fabulous border. Blooms begin in spring and continue through fall or first frost and can bloom nearly year-round in warm, frost-free regions. It does well in partial or full sun, and if you're located in a hotter region, then morning sun may be best. Well-draining soil is preferred as with most succulents, and plants in the ground survive with very little water in summer. These beauties may not be hardy below 25 degrees Fahrenheit. The Calanchoe that you see here is native to Madagascar and is commonly known as a supermarket Calanchoe or Calanchoe, flaming Katy, Christmas Calanchoe, Florist Calanchoe, and Madagascar Widow's Thrill. These are typically sold in grocery stores, hence the name Supermarket Calanchoe, big box stores, flower shops, and gardening centers. They make great gifts as their flowers stay vibrant for months. In their native habitat, Calanchoe can bloom nearly year-round. As a houseplant, they typically bloom late winter and late spring. As light increases, the flowering cycle slows down. With the right conditions, they will continue to flower each year. Unless you are in a warm climate, they will need to be brought in as a houseplant during the colder months as they are sensitive to frost. Even a light freeze can kill the plants, but it makes an excellent outdoor plant in summer. This beauty is commonly called the orange-stalked bulbine, or burn jelly plant, and this gem is native to South Africa. It has bright green, skinny, succulent foliage complemented by tall orange flowers with frilly yellow stamens. The stamens are distinctively tufted or bearded like all bulbine species. It has a bloom period that goes into the summer in coastal areas. When in bloom, it attracts birds, butterflies, and they are deer resistant. It's typically grown outdoor as a ground cover, but it also does well in rock gardens or containers. They prefer full sun to light shade, and it does best in well-draining soil, and it is drought resistant. The leaves of this bulbine are used in traditional medicine and are said to have healing effects on wounds and skin infections. Next, we have the Senecio serpens, or blue chalk sticks, and this South African native makes a perfect ground cover. It does well in containers, and it makes an attractive edging, and it's an excellent contrast with texture and color in succulent arrangements. It does well in full sun and in well-draining soil. It produces small white flowers that bloom in summer, and they have these long blue-green finger-like fleshy leaves that give the succulent a marine look. It's also fire resistant. Crassula tetragona is also known as miniature pine trees or Chinese pine, and it's a wonderful succulent. It adds great texture and height to any arrangement. The succulent has spiky green leaves that curve upwards. It gets its name from its pine tree-like appearance. Crassula tetragona also makes a lovely bonsai plant. You will just love this easy grower. It produces cute white blooms in late spring and early summer. Graptosedum Darley Sunshine forms rosettes with beautiful pink mauve leaves in rosettes that become somewhat bushy. This beauty will also hang over the sides of containers or small walls. Senecio serpens mini blue chopsticks is the dwarf version of the larger blue chopsticks. They are tidier and more compact than their larger big brother. They also have a powdery coating of formative farina that thickens in bright sun, so the plant can take on a more silvery hue in summer. It has brilliant pink leaves shading from light rose to deep coral. The stems can grow long and start to bend and trail, with leaves growing on the full length of the stems. It can also be kept more compact with regular pruning. It is a strong grower that can eventually form thick clusters in range of sunset tones. As it grows tall, it will trail over a planter and create ground cover in a garden. Watch for yellow flowers in spring. This evergreen is best known as succulent bush and is native to South Africa. They can grow 3 to 5 feet tall, and they add texture and height to any succulent arrangement. They also look great on their own. This next Crassula is referred to as ripple jade or curly jade. It is commonly mislabeled in nursery as blue waves, blue curls, jitters, and is sometimes listed as Crassula ovata cultivar. This succulent is a variation of the traditional jade plant and has thin, wavy leaves. It is great in arrangements for filling space in between other succulents or in your landscaping. This next Aeonium has waxy leaves that are dark reddish purple that turn almost black in full sun. They add striking contrast to lighter succulents in arrangements and flower beds. They grow bushy when allowed to grow and spread outside. So much hybridizing has been done that there's so many unknown Aeonium species. They grow best in full sun to partial shade and typically go dormant in really hot and dry weather conditions. Aeonium's growth period is during the winter or spring, and most varieties are dormant in summer. Their leaves will curl and drop to prevent excessive water loss. Aeoniums grow well in containers or in the ground. When Aeoniums get too tall, the rosette head can be propagated. Cut off the tops and leave about 2 inches of stem and throw the rest of the plant away, as they will not grow back. Insert the rosette in soil or propagate in water, which is of course my favorite way. Portulacaria afra variegata, or rainbow bush, is also known as variegated elephant bush, variegated elephant shrub, dwarf jade, mini jade, variegated elephant food, Chinese jade plant, and pork bush. It is used to feed elephants in their natural habitat, hence the name elephant bush, and it's a popular houseplant due to its sparse requirements for care and its ability to persist in harsh conditions, as well as its simple but beautiful colors. This next beauty is referred to as blue chalk fingers, and the foliage is long and finger-like, hence the name blue chalk fingers. This unique succulent adds nice ornamental appeal with its blue to gray-green leaves that grow upright from tall stems. It works great as a filler to add height and texture to arrangements or flower beds. It thrives in hot and dry condition, but also does well indoors in sunny locations. Here is another view of these incredible variegated jade plants. There's so many to choose from, so I had a really hard time selecting a few, but I really like the ones with the solid white. Kalanchoe fichenkoei is commonly known as lavender scallops. One of the really cool things about this plant is the way it creates little plant babies on the edges of each leaf. When repotting, take care in handling as the leaves are somewhat brittle and can snap easily. Here are some of the stunning blooms produced by lavender scallops. The name Kalanchoe or Kalanchoe has been rumored to come from the phonetic transcription of the Chinese words Kalanchoe. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that, but that means that which falls and grows. It's possibly in reference to the plantlets that drop from many of the Kalanchoe species. This next sedum rupestri angelina is a cheerful ground cover and is fast growing. It has gray-green leaves that turn electric yellow when in direct sun. In early summer, the sedum produces clusters of star-shaped, vibrant yellow flowers. These are great additions to succulent planters as they spill over the sides and are a perfect accent for plants with dark foliage. Crassula Ovata Variegata is also known as a variegated string of buttons, and it is one of the best loved stacked Crassula species. Its triangular leaves of pale green and cream variegation have edges that turn rosy pink with increased sunlight. This succulent grows straight and then sprawls out and looks great spilling over the sides of arrangements. It can be kept compact with pruning and propagation and produces pale yellow flowers in spring. Graptiveria Fred Ives is one of my favorite foolproof succulents and is perfect for beginners. It is one of the easiest to propagate, and these beauties can stress to almost any color of the rainbow in heat, cold, or with plenty of space and sunlight. Its colors vary depending on age and sun exposure, from stunning ranges of purple, pink, orange, blues, and green shades. In summer, it produces clusters of beautiful pale yellow flowers with red-orange centers. Fred Ives is also deer resistant, so planting them beside your favorite plants can help deter them from being eaten. Graptiveria Fred Ives is not cold hardy, so if you live in climates that get colder than about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, it's best to plant this succulent in a container that can be brought indoors. It does well in full to partial sun. I picked up a few of these and I planted them in a planter at my parents', and they've grown so much and are now blooming. I just love this particular species. The Aeonium kiwi has beautiful tricolor leaves that start out yellow and darken into green, and with increased sun, the edges turn pink or red. It does not like to be too hot and dry, unlike most succulents. If the leaves curl, it is a good sign that your plant is getting too much extreme heat. It does this to prevent water loss. They prefer the shade or morning sun. Indirect light is best. This succulent will not tolerate frost. In colder climates, it's best to bring it indoors in winter and grown as a houseplant. And their growing season is from winter to spring. Occasionally in late summer, they produce large yellow flowers. Here's some of the beautiful ferns here, and these plants are excellent air purifying houseplants. These evergreens not only help you get rid of some harmful toxins, but it also improves humidity by helping restore moisture to the air naturally too. There are tons to choose from. Next we have the Asparagus Fern, and in the United States it has been declared an invasive weed in Hawaii as well as Florida and some other countries. In spring they have small white flowers, and then eventually green berries are produced. As they mature, the berries turn red like you see right here. Inside these berries are black seeds, which are about 3 millimeters, and you can plant those seeds that are harvested from those berries, but they are quite invasive. Next we have the sweet pea shrubs, and these have beautiful purple bush blooms, and in mild winters they can bloom almost year-round. It attracts birds, butterflies, and bees. Here's some bromeliads, and these can give your garden a tropical look. They can also be found at Disneyland in California, planted just outside the Jungle Cruise in front of the Tropical Hideaway restaurant. This is where you can get the famous Dole Whip, which is incredible and you must try if you haven't already. They also add a nice contrast of color with their spectacular flowers. They can also be found at Disneyland below the bottom of the popular Tarzan treehouse. I feel like every time I come here, they're always in bloom. Next we have some beautiful sea lavender, And this is commonly known as Perez's sea lavender and Stiphon status. It is native to the coast of the Canary Islands, but is widely used in gardens throughout the world. Not quite sure what this pretty silver leaf shrub is. If you happen to know the name, let me know in the comments below. This is a Dipladena. Next, we're going to head over to the gardenias. And this is a beautiful flowering plant in the coffee family. And gardenias have beautiful, fragrant white flowers, and they smell lovely. The evergreen leaves are glossy with an almost polished look. In the US, these are classic southern plants, but do well in Southern California too. Next, we have an Australian fern tree. Has this lacy, beautiful foliage that likes shade or a little morning sun. These are large ferns and need lots of room to grow. Next, we have the golden Euonymus. It is an evergreen shrub with green and gold variegated foliage. An excellent choice for a colorful hedge with an upright growth habit. It's a tough shrub, super easy to care for as it requires minimal attention once established, but it does take some regular pruning. And Diplodenas. Beautiful flowering plant. And some more ferns. Lots to choose from. This next one's one of my favorites. It's the Lacy tree Philodendron, and it's also called Lacy leaf Philodendron, and it's a great choice for an inexperienced plant lover because it tells you exactly what it needs. It reacts quickly when something is wrong, but the plant turns around just as quickly when you correct the situation. This plant grows to a height of about 3 feet, but it needs a lot of elbow room because it can spread up to 6 feet wide. It's a pretty lemon and lime, possibly a variegated Gesina, I'm not positive on that one. Next we have some Dipladenias, and these are beautiful annuals that flower in white with beautiful yellow centers. They also flower in red, and they have some pink, and they also flower in raspberry. And they bloom from spring through fall. Now we have a few wandering Jew varieties back here. The first one is the Tradescantia zebrina. It's also commonly called wandering Jew or inch plant. It's a very popular trailing plant. Next we have the Tradescantia pallida or purple heart, also known as wandering Jew or walking Jew. This makes a great addition as an accent plant to flower beds or containers. They both make great ground covers because it roots at the nodes as stems spread along the ground. The purple heart blooms constantly in warm weather, producing clusters of bright pink 3-petal flowers that emerge at the tips. The wandering Jew is a legend, which basically follows that a Jewish man was cursed to walk the earth forever. Therefore, like this plant, the Jew will, in time, eventually go everywhere. Next we have the Tradescantia spathacea, related to the wandering Jew plant and commonly called Moses in the cradle, Moses in a basket, boat lily, or oyster plant. It is a clump-forming evergreen perennial that is native to southern Mexico, Belize, and Guatemala. There are a ton of cyclamens here, and these have bright colored blooms, attractive leaves, and the ease of these plants blooming during the wintertime makes them a popular choice. They can flower in white, bright pink, red, or purple. They can be used in flower beds or borders. Next, we're going to head over to one of my favorites, and this is going to be my next project. This is an olive bush, and I picked up one of these to train and shape this bush and transform it into an olive tree. I don't know if any of you have looked into buying an olive tree for decorative use, but they're a little bit pricey. I thought I'd try shaping one of these bushes into a small tree. I've done quite a bit of research on it, but if you have any tips for me, please leave them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this nursery tour. Please give me a big thumbs up and let me know you enjoyed the content. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe so that you'll be notified as soon as a new video is released. I have a lot more info on my website, moodybloomsco.com, and I hope you'll visit me there as well as on social media. Have a wonderful day, and please stay safe and healthy, my friends.